That's what I still. The vision never dies. Life's a never-ending well. Yes, holy diver, you're the star of the masquerade. No need to look so afraid. Jump down, jump on the tiger. You can feel his heart, but you know he's mean. Sunlight can never be seen. But you know he's clean. Well, don't you see what I know? Get away. Get away. Get away. Get away. Holy diver, soul survivor, your honor's queen. Yeah, holy diver, holy diver.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. How are we doing, chat? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am tired. Well, happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. I am exhausted. I have been up recording all night. I have 1 hour of sleep in me. We didn't get our stream sponsored last time, so now we've switched to Rain energy drinks. Maybe Rain will sponsor us. Anyway, we're going to be covering OSINT today. I'm a very, very sleepy person. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over and go to my screen. Hopefully, I didn't screw anything up from all my recording today. And looks good. Okay, so welcome to day 6, week 3. Week 3. People are saying there's fewer people. Yes, we said this from the beginning. Class is going to drop off steadily, and that is expected. So, anyway, if you're here and you're having a good time and you're still staying and studying for class, that's what matters. But that is what matters. Can't talk, very tired. You are the ones that, if you make it to the end, you'll have a lot of good things, hopefully, in your future. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and talk about day 6. So day 5, on Wednesday, we covered the quote unquote fun stuff. It was all the conditions and things that you needed to take care of and things that you needed to know, mostly documentation, paperwork, et cetera, before we get into reconnaissance. So we talked about active versus passive recon. And today we're going to actually get into passive reconnaissance. So we're going to look at Google search operators and other search engine operators. We'll look at discovering email addresses and different unique ways that we can do that. We're going to look at hunting breach passwords, which is one of my favorite things. And then we'll look at username OSINT as well, and a little bit of enumerating valid accounts, though I think that we're going to cover that next week. So, full disclosure, Joe Helly is going to be teaching the OSINT next week. He is a streamer, aka the mayor, does a very good job. So you'll hear a different voice next week, but we'll be covering OSINT, and a lot of the enumerating valid accounts and such will be covered next week as well. So, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be flipping over and we're going to be looking at Google Foo, aka some search engine operators, and we'll get started there. If I can pull up the right system. All right. So you got this pulled up, and Google is your best friend. You'll hear a lot of people tell you to quote unquote Google it, and we mean that. Like, there's a lot of things where if you saw, like when we were going through Python and we had an error come through, some sort of error happen, we Google it. We you working on the help desk, you go Google it. You have a problem, you Google it. And a lot of people don't want to put in the simple work to go to Google and ask Google a question, but Google is really the all knowing being. All right. So I have made my living off of Google. And I remember the very first time that I got an IT job interview. This was for help desk at a university. And I had my interview, and I didn't really know much. And the guy had asked me during the interview, "What will you do if you don't know an answer to something?" And I said, "I would Google it." And he loved that response because, one, it was honest. And two, he like responded back and said, "Hey, like I literally feed my family from Google." And that's true. So being able to navigate a search engine and use it is incredibly powerful. And just covering some of the things that we're going to cover today will make you that much better, hopefully, if you didn't know some of these tricks, and will help you with your career and your OSINT and everything else. So, what we're going to do is look at some different search engines. I like Google specifically because it returns the best results. I think the algorithm is the best, most fine tuned. However, there are other options in here. I have them pulled up. DuckDuckGo is one built on privacy. However, I don't think it does the best at doing search engine operators. Bing is another one. We've heard of Yahoo as well. Yandex is one that's really good, but it's only good for, I think, for image searching. And when we get into image OSINT, we'll talk about that. Although this looks a little provocative. I don't know what's going on their homepage. And also Baidu. Baidu is more for it's more for Chinese search engines. So when I usually search on Baidu, it really doesn't come up. I don't know why I got brought to the investor page by going to Baidu, by the way. But anyway, there's different search engines depending on the different things that you're going to be doing. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to be using Google for the primary or the majority of this. And then if you have a preferred search engine, most of these operators work on these search engines. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just search me. I'm going to use me as an example today. You're welcome to use whoever you want or whomever you want. I'm getting roboted here. Let's go ahead and do the traffic lights real quick. Hopefully, it doesn't do this too much. I am using a VPN to do this searching today, only because Google likes to dox your location and put your public information down. So I'm using a VPN. If you type in something in Google and it doesn't find anything, it'll say searching from this location, and that's really, really kind of Google to do. No privacy there. So with this here, if I type in my name, the nice thing about Google is it really finds a lot about you as an individual. If you go search me on DuckDuckGo or Bing or even Yandex, you're not going to find as much information as Google provides. So you can see if you just search Heath Adams, you can come in, you can find questions people ask are ridiculous. How old am I? I've seen like Heath Adams' net worth and all kinds of weird stuff in here. But like you can see the Academy comes up, like a Wikipedia page about me comes up. There's a lot of information in here that is completely all about me, minus this part right here, and there's the net worth coming up. This IMD page isn't me, but the rest of this is, and it does a great job just searching on its own. However, we can get more specific with some of these things. All right. So when we come in here and we have our search engine operators, I'm going to use an example that we use in the course. So not that long ago, I was taking some WGU courses, and I was doing that because I needed some prerequisites in order to apply for a PhD program. So one of the courses that I had to take was a calculus course. And if you just Google like WGU calculus one, we can find some information about it. Like Reddit post comes up. We've got some stuff on YouTube, and we've got like WGU, Quizlet, stuff like that comes up. But for me, when I take a class or I'm doing any sort of like certification or anything along those lines, I like to get really specific when I drill down into it because I want to find out information about students' experiences. And it looks like Calculus 1 is called C958. So it might actually just be better to like search C958 because that is the specific class. And then we can really start driving down into some of these search results. And what I like to do to find student experiences is look through like a website like Reddit, right? So if I type in Reddit, I can come in here and hopefully it'll pull some stuff down from Reddit. It looks like all of these are from Reddit. But with this search engine that I'm using or the way I'm searching isn't actually pulling everything down from Reddit. We're getting 797 results, but this is going to pull down on any of these three terms, but it's just smart enough to know that I'm probably looking for this for Reddit or for the website. But the better way to do this is to come in here and say specifically that I want to do site reddit.com, and you can see that that actually narrows the results down to 496. So there was a couple hundred results in there that were not Reddit specific. And now we've narrowed it down to, hey, I want to read specifically about this WGU or C958 on this website. So we could even take away the WGU if we wanted to and expand our search. We could also come in here and do something like WGU and where both of these search terms have to appear within the search, not either or like we kind of were doing. And that actually brought up more results, which is pretty neat. 532 results on this. And we can see that WGU and C958 had to be a part of this criteria. So if we're starting to drill down, we can start to see some of the interesting stuff that appears. So we can also do specifics like we could just say WGU C958, and we would want to look for something in this literal here where it would have to match the string exactly. And there's only two results that match this string. So you could say this WGU, it looks like it's a subreddit where the title was C958 at the beginning, and that came up on this website. So you can get very, very specific with the searches that you want to do as well. Now, something that I was looking for when I was going through this C958 or this calculus course was I was trying to find information about instructors and reviews and places to learn because let's be honest, like self-studying through WGU, some of the courses are hit or miss, and the materials that they had for Calc 1 weren't that great. So I prefer to have video lessons and how to look through this and see, I guess, through a different lens. And somebody that I came across was a guy named Professor Leonard, and he is a fantastic, fantastic math teacher, by the way. So if we wanted to search something like C958, and Professor Leonard. We could do like Professor Leonard and do cite Reddit. And then we could come up with all the results of the people that were talking about Professor Leonard on this website. So this would be specific to C958 and Professor Leonard. We could also do an OR statement in here as an operator and just see that the results increased to 15,300. So now we're looking up C958 and we're looking up the Professor Leonard here. So we're going to find anything about C958 or about Professor Leonard. So it doesn't have to specifically be this right here. All right. So those are some operators there. Let's get into some more specifics. Let's say you wanted to search me, for example, and we say Keith Adams. And we knew that I was the cyber mentor, but we couldn't remember what I was. It was something mentor. Google does a great job at helping you along. Also, my obituary, interesting. We could come in here and say the star mentor, and that will give you a wild card. And we'll come in here and that will start finding anything with the wildcard mentor in between it. So you can see it's finding the cyber mentor for us. So the wildcard search operator is pretty awesome. We can come in here and do some other fun stuff as well. So I like to pick on Tesla because Tesla, one, I'm a Tesla fanboy. Two, Tesla has a public bug bounty program. I believe it's still through Bug Crowd. So we can use Tesla as a prime example to do some searching, and there's nothing really against looking them up that would do any harm to us either. So with that in mind, what we can do is we can do some fun search operators. Now, I'm basing this off of a bug that was found in the last year or so. I think it's a little bit older now, but I remember reading about this. And somebody was just doing what this is called Google dorking. I like to call it Google foo, but somebody was doing some Google dorking and looking through Tesla's website and looking for sensitive files. And what they happened to come across was an Excel file that had a password in it for a help desk user. They were able to log in with that user and gain access into the Tesla network because it was accidentally exposed. And it was only exposed for like a couple of days. All right. So it was something that it just depends on the timing of when you're looking for these. And that works out sometimes. So when we're doing like open source intelligence against an organization, or we're looking at an organization and we're doing a pen test against them, we're going out and looking for sensitive files. We're going out and looking for any sort of exposed data that might be there. So with that in mind, we're going to take a look at Tesla, and we're going to give it a site, tesla.com. And we're going to just say something like password. And this isn't going to be great. Like if we're looking for passwords on Tesla, we're not going to really find a lot here because we're going to come across like, hey, reset your password. So not the best thing here, but we might want to do something like a file type where we say like, okay, I want to look for the word password in a PDF. Now we have 127 results. And we can see we get some stuff about the password for the wall connector that comes with the vehicles or that you install at your house, and different passwords that are here. But we could search through these and see if we could find some sort of password within a document. And it doesn't have to just be the word password. It could be like PWD or pass or anything along those lines, or like credentials. You have no idea. So you have to do different search operators to see if you can find different things. All right. And if we come in here, we'll just keep it password. We could change the file type around. Like we might want to look for like the Excel file, like SLX, SX, like this. And we didn't get anything back. And we can keep trying like PWD, see if that comes back with anything. Credentials, see if that comes with anything. We could even just see, like, we could delete this and just see if they have any Excel files on their website in general to see if they're leaking any sort of document. We don't have to look for passwords specifically. Here's one. I'm not going to download it, but here's one that looks like it has a file download, and it is uh, in another language. So I have no idea what this is, honestly. And we could do this with all different types of files, like a docx. Here's another one as well. Looks like this is coming from Hong Kong, I'm guessing, but we can search different file types just like that. PDFs, we can go through the PDFs that are on this site. It looks like there's 2,000 PDFs that they have on their website. So all different kinds of options to search for here. So if I was doing this in real life and I was trying to find somebody, this are the things I would do. Or if I was trying to find information about an organization, I would go and search the organization's website and then see what kind of sensitive files they might have out there. You can automate this process and kind of download any sensitive information that might be out there. I think Joe actually might have a tool for this, but anyway, what we're looking at here is this type of OSINT. So make sure that you're looking and you're searching for these kinds of things, and you can make sure that you're doing due diligence for your customer as well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and come through here, and we're going to do a few more of these. All right. So if we do some subdomain hunting as an example, we could come in here and we could do site Tesla. And if you are unfamiliar with what a subdomain is, if you look at these like www.tesla.com or shop.tesla.com, everything that is before the .tesla.com is what is considered a subdomain. So with the subdomain, we have quite a few here. So let's say that I don't want to see www because we know www exists. We can come in here and just do www with a minus sign, and we can remove certain things. So if I wanted to remove that, I could. We could see like shop is in here, and maybe we don't want to see shop. Maybe we're trying to find like sensitive subdomains manually. Now, there are tools that can do this and find them for you, but we could find sensitive subdomains just by searching for this and seeing what's out there. So these are ways to find things like if we came across like dev or VPN or things along those lines, we could kind of search through this and see if we could find anything of value to us. Another thing that we can do is we could search like, let's come back and just search me, for example. We could just say Heath Adams, but let's say that you really didn't want to find information about me. You might remove the cyber mentor like that. You might remove the word mentor completely. You might remove the word TCM and start just like narrowing down something that's not me. Like if you're trying to do research on somebody that maybe has the same name as like a very common name or the same name as like a very popular person, you could start narrowing down like things associated with that popular person to get results on somebody else. So here you could see like there's a real estate agent named Heath Adams. There's somebody that has an IMDb page and has done some acting or composing as well. Looks like there's people on Facebook. You could see that there's Udemy. That's about me, but most of these are not about me. So that's pretty good. Like none of these pictures now show up about me. So you can start to really narrow down results and weed this out as well. So you could also search for like things like in text, for example. Like if you want to see anything about Heath Adams' password and it's in the text, all right. If we can come in here and next, this is always fun. All right, so you can see that there is breach parse, and we can see that there's some stuff where anywhere that the word password is in the text of the page is where this is going to show up. So if we're looking for a specific word on a page, we can use the in text of password on that. All right. And then we can also do something like in text password, maybe site twitter.com. And you could see anytime that the name Heath Adams was mentioned with the in-text password on the website of twitter.com, which only has 22 instances currently. We could also do like in URL. So we can say in the URL itself of password. And this one had no findings, but you could see that it will pull down like, I don't know, if we just do in URL password, it should find, well, it found 8 million results. So it's looking in the URL itself for the word password or for the string of password. We could also look for in title like this and search that. And you'll see we get 9 million results. So it has to be in the page's title for that. So there are useful operators that we can utilize here. Another thing that we can do is if we go to Google, we can do google.com/advanced search like this. And we can just type this in. This will do it for us. It's pretty awesome. So, like this word or phrase, if we just said Heath Adams, we could. And then if we just said like in title, and we came in here and we wanted to do like, let's see, if we want to do like site or domain, let's just do twitter.com. This will build out the search for us. Like it will do everything on this page. Like it has, like, I want to match these exact words or phrases, none of these words, specific numbers, specific language, region, dates and times, all kinds of advanced searching. So you do that, it'll put this in for you. So if we do Heath Adams Twitter, another thing to note about Google is you can use the tools feature. And you could come in here and do like anytime. We can do past week, past month. So anytime I've been mentioned on Twitter, period, and you could see like there's pictures, we can come to images and see. And like it's all TCM security related. Somebody got one of our hats. Awesome. And we can come in here and just see like what's referencing us, where are we seeing things, and why are these related to us. Somebody's got a sticker as well. Nice. So there's a lot of different things that we can do based on just search engine operators and really narrowing it down. So, if you've been searching and you're just like searching Heath Adams, you're going to get 16.7 million results. Probably not the best thing to do. So, again, this is a great lesson on how to really narrow down and fine tune those results. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to move on and we're going to start talking here about email OSINT, which requires me to have a different browser. So let me get into that. That's one of them. And then the other one is here. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about email OSINT. Why should we validate emails? Why should we look at emails? Well, there's a couple of reasons. If we're doing it from a hacker's perspective, we want to be able to find out what users exist within a company and what email address format they have. For example, we might want to see like who are the users, who are the known users with known email addresses. We can find those. And then we can also take something like first dot last or first initial last name, something along those lines, and format that. And then we can go out to LinkedIn and find out who the employees are and then start piecing together that information to then use that against the organization, and find and identify valid emails that otherwise may not shown up in these kind of search results. So we can use that information here. I've also used this in the past for business purposes. Like if I'm trying to get a hold of somebody at a organization, I might search for their email through some of these. Or as you're going to see when we use other tools, we might need to like use a tool to find out who the CISO of a company is and what their email address might be, and et cetera, et cetera. So the first tool I'm showing you is hunter.io. This is a great site. I think it gives you like 50 free searches a month. You have to log in with Google or you can create an account. Some countries, I have I have heard that it has been banned in some countries, so it might not work. You might need a VPN or might need to use a different email address, something along those lines. You could still use the free plan, or not even, you don't even have to be authenticated to search. It will just blur out the results, but you could still get an idea of whether you're looking at like a first name, last name, or first dot last, or first initial last name kind of thing. So if we come in here for like the domain search and we just type in tcm-sec.com, you'll see it actually pulls us up and has our updated logo. So it's got our most common pattern being first name at tcm-sec.com. That is an accurate statement. And if we come through here, you could see that it's found info at, Zach at, certifications at, academy, and support. Um, Pretty good, pretty good. If we come in, we can also search like tesla.com, and it's got 747 results. And we can see their most common pattern is first initial last name. But that's not always true, because like this Matthew guy has a Matthew at tesla.com. This one has an underscore. This one has an underscore. So if we're looking for people, it looks like they either have a first and then last, or first initial last name, but there are maybe some original employees, like maybe Matthew's been there for a while and he has a first name only. So you might have to consider that when you're doing some search results as well. Anyway, so this is some information that we can use. There's also a great website called phonebook.cz. Phonebook.cz. If we come in here and we just do like tcmsec.com, we can search that. You could search domains, email addresses, URLs. I'm just doing domain or email addresses. Sorry. I'm using TCMSec because it'll be fast. But you can see it pulls down info, Heath, and certifications at. We could also do like tesla.com, and that'll take a little bit longer, but it will pull down quite a few email addresses. Like if we come through here now, you can see all the email addresses that it finds. Not all of these are going to be valid email addresses, by the way. Um, we'll talk about validating those here in a second. Not all of them are going to be valid. So these are just going to be email addresses that it's found at one point. People come and go. Employees leave organizations, so you can't expect these people to always be here. So this is a great resource. We use this quite often. Phonebook.cz is probably the one that we use the most when we're searching. We'll come here, search our client, and then just copy these emails, and then we'll have a nice starting base of a list. And we can also identify often what the format is based on the email address that we see put in here. Tesla is a unique example because they have quite a few different email addresses. But in this instance, this is a great website to search through, honestly. And you can do wildcards as well, which is pretty cool. So another one that I'm going to show you is a plugin called Clearbit. Clearbit. So you get so many searches a month. You have to have a Google plugin for this. And if you come in here with the Google plugin and you're logged into like Gmail, you can come in here and find emails. So you can search like TCM security, which is what I did. And I came in here and just see, we see like Zach Hill is a brand manager. If I click on Zach Hill, I can find Zach's email address. I can find Zach's LinkedIn. So this is a great way from a sales perspective to find people, but from an OSINT perspective, a tool like this is pretty good as well. So we could also search like tesla.com, and a nice feature of this, I'm still in find a company or find a person, tesla.com. And we come in here, you could see like, okay, here are the people of interest. It shows like the top people, but you can do like seniority, like who are the executives at tesla.com? I want to email those people. Here's all those people. Or what if I'm doing like an engagement and I want to find out who the chief information security officer is? I might come in here and look for like security professionals or like IT, information technology. So here's somebody that's an executive that works in information technology. I'll click on him. I'll find his email address. I'll find his LinkedIn page. Like this is incredibly powerful stuff. All right. So this can be incredibly useful from any sort of OSINT, and you get like again, I think it's 50 or 100 searches a month, which is plenty. So Okay, so a couple more things. If we are identifying email addresses, we can use some tools like Email Hippo is a good one. There's also another one called Email Checker. And what these do, email-checker.net is that one. And then the Email Hippo is just tools.emailhippo.com. All right. And you can come in here and just search things. Like if I just wanted to search like a random Gmail account, I could see if that comes back as valid or not valid. Now, there are potentials to have false positives and false negatives in here. I don't know why that didn't actually come back. Let's, I guess, accept the cookies. Try one more time. If that comes back, could be that I've had the page open for a while. It shows no results. Shows too active. All right, so I'm not seeing anything. Let's try typing in like my email address or a known valid email address. Not working either. I don't know what's wrong with Email Hippo today. Let's try this one. Let's try like info@tcmsec.com. That one returned as valid. Let's see if it gives us a false positive. Let's try a bad one. Oh, that one comes back as bad. All right. So you can come in here and you can use this to search and see what is a valid or invalid email address without ever having to email somebody. So if you are doing an open source intelligence investigation, this is a great way to do this. Like if you're investigating somebody, you don't want them to know. This is a great way to see if the email result comes back as true or false or good or bad, without having to engage with that person. Again, this is all passive research. All passive research. All right. This has an API and a premium plan, so you can do like, again, if you're doing like business related and you're trying to find a bunch of emails of executives that you want to email, and this is how you end up on lists, not like government lists, but this is how you end up on like mailing lists. I get junk email all the time. Um, that can be done. You can like bulk check emails, and we used to have this when we had a salesperson at our organization because we would then use those to email people and try to solicit some work. So anyway, so those are the email OSINTs. I'm going to show you one more thing, which is a trick that you can use. This is kind of falling into the validation of a username, but this also allows us to validate emails. Most websites, most like email websites, will allow you to type in the email and see if it's valid. So if you come in here and some of you were laughing at the please don't, that is short for please don't hack me, sir, please. And if I come in here and I hit enter, you'll see that this is a valid email account. Look, it's now asking for a password. Um, I've noticed tricks where it'll show you a picture of somebody, which is pretty interesting. Or if you go to like a Google Sheets, I don't know if you've ever used Google Sheets, but if you go to Google Sheets and you put an email address in there, if you hover over that email address, you can see the photograph of that person if they have a photograph. So there are ways to OSINT people without, again, ever interacting with those people, and it's creepy. So if you have a photo on your Google account, it is not private by any means. So, but you can come in here and here's something that's wild as well. You come in here and you say forgot password. Look at this. It's going to say an email verification code was just sent to me. I'm sure I'm about to get blasted with email verification codes. That's fine. But look, you get an H, one, two, three, four more characters. So you got 5 characters, and then you can say at TC, and then you got the rest here. It gives you the exact character count, the exact email address that of who owns this account. So account recoveries are dangerous as well because you can get partial phone numbers, you can get partial email addresses, and when I was doing these sort of things, like I was doing open source intelligence, and we were trying to hunt down people when I used to do that kind of work, um, we would search and try to correlate email address accounts. So if we found one account, we would try to tie it to another account based on what we saw here. So it's it's pretty crazy. So if you have account recovery set up, it does link to your phone, does link to your email address, and can expose some of those. All right. In this, I saw somebody in chat mention that this will send send something to a person. Yes and no, not always. It doesn't always send a notification or an alert to somebody. More often than not, honestly, it doesn't. And even if it did send a notification, these email addresses aren't very private. So, like, it's not uncommon. Like, I get password reset requests all the time. Like, people try to like reset my password or hack into me. Yeah, I'm more well known, but there's also like it doesn't matter who you are. You're still going to get people coming out there and trying to like break into your account. There's hackers everywhere who just grab information and try to do password resets and all kinds of stuff. So, all right. So from here, we're going to go ahead and start talking about hunting down breach passwords. And then we'll see how much time we have left on hunting down usernames. If we don't have enough time, we'll just make it into next week. Not a big deal. Okay. So let's move on to that. If I can find the page. Oh, it's right here. I'm stupid. Okay. So let's talk about hunting down breach passwords. So with breach passwords, we have dehashed here. Uh, what I'm about to show you is about the methodology. It's not about the tool. The tools will change. We used to use a tool called WeLeakInfo. WeLeakInfo was it was taken down by the FBI or the I forget Department of Defense or somebody took it down. DOE. I don't remember who it was. But the website got taken down, so dhash can get taken down as well. And just know that we're looking at the methodology, not specifically the tool. So in this instance, dhash is a great website, but I don't expect you to follow along. It is a paid service. It is $5.49 for a week. It is $180 for an annual subscription. We pay for an annual subscription because of the work that we do. This is what we use to perform OSINT on our clients. So we can come in here and we can do searching, and it'll tell you all the different things that you can search on. Like it has all different kinds of fields. We could search on email addresses, usernames, IP addresses, names, addresses, phone numbers, vehicle identification numbers. It's insane what you can do in here. So, like, I might come in here and search for Tesla.com and say I was hacking against Tesla. I might want to see who at Tesla has ever been involved in a breach. Who's ever been involved in a breach? All right. So if we come in here, we can start seeing what users have been involved in a breach, what breach they were involved in, and what data comes back. So like we could see this person's username. Also, this is a great way to find email addresses that maybe we didn't know about. We can find out what the username was, what the password was, or the hash password. There's an address in here. There's an IP address. So, like, if we're doing an investigation on somebody for OSINT and we have an email address of them, we could see if they've ever been involved in a breach, and then we could start really hunting down that information. Like, we might find this IP address and then go search that IP address in here and see if any other emails come back that might tie to that individual. We might search the address that we find and see if it ties to an individual. We might search on a hash, which you can do. Or if the password is unique enough, we'll search on that too, and we'll start pulling down other email addresses. We might pull down personal email addresses and then go search that personal email address and see if we can find any more information about that. So if you ever watch like a crime show and you see how like they put up the picture and then they get like the little red string and they start like tying things together, that's really how this works because you can take one email address like this, find out like this information and then start piecing together, okay, well, what happens if I search this IP address? We can search this IP address. I don't know what's going to come back. It could very easily just be like Tesla's headquarters. And we could see like a bunch of things, or like we see not so much. Look, we've got DAR Murray at Tesla.com, and we've also got DV Murray 100 at gmail.com. I'm not going to start clicking into these people and showing their information, but just know that this is probably that person's personal email address. And then we can start searching on that personal email address and start seeing, okay, well, who is that tied to? And does he have certain passwords? What passwords have they used in the past? Are there information from these passwords that we can find? Like, are we seeing the same password used over and over? Or are we seeing the same password format used over and over, like summer 2021, summer 2020? Then we might be able to assume that their password is summer 2022. And so we have no idea what's on behind the scenes here, but you can get really deep in an investigation and find information out about people, and we will do that when we're searching and we're doing OSINT on an organization and trying to break into their network. We're looking at who their users are and if their users have ever personally been involved in a breach. Now, know that we are not going to be attacking these people. We're not going to personally attack their personal email address. If we find them, we can gather the information about them that they have had in breaches from a personal standpoint, but we're only going to use that information against them on their employee email address. All right. So think about that as well. This can get really crazy really fast, and we can chain this together and do all kinds of stuff. And so when we get into looking at attacks, there are two types of attacks that we can do with this. One is called password spraying. Password spraying is gathering email addresses and then trying known weak passwords like summer 2022 exclamation or winter 2022 exclamation or some sort of company name with a one. And we're just guessing at passwords. All right. In this instance, when we take known passwords from a breach, we're talking about what's called credential stuffing. Now, credential stuffing is using a password and using it against a login. And there are a couple of recent real world applications of this. I saw maybe 6 months ago to a year ago where a hacker was logging into baby monitoring applications and was talking to babies through a baby monitor. And the only way that like people were thinking, oh, the baby monitor got hacked. No, the baby monitor didn't get hacked. The people got hacked. The people had their passwords on these databases and they used those in a credential stuffing attack and were able to log into those baby monitors. It was very creepy. Another thing that has happened recently, I would say within the last 2 years, was it was like a porn phishing email that was going on. And the email was saying, hey, we know your password and your password is this. And we saw that you were doing XYZ on this porn website. And if you don't send us money, then we're going to reveal this information publicly. And what was happening was that they never really gathered this information from a porn website. They gathered this information from something like this, like a database, and then just emailed those people with their known passwords trying to solicit money from them. So this definitely does happen. All right. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and move on from this, and we're going to talk about one more topic today. And before we do that, we're going to go ahead and open up the Google form. The Google form. So the Google form is now open, and the password for the Google form today is open source. Open source. All right. So, again, as always, if the page does not load, refresh. If you get stuck in CAPTCHA hell, use private browsing. You also can use the Academy website to load the page. Use the Academy website. It has less traffic than going through our website, which is getting DDoSed by all of you. So, again, all right. So those of you putting in the term in the chat, you're going to get auto banned. We have been very diligent about that. So anyway, okay. So a couple more things. you can come into here and do like a have I been pwned? And this is a great resource. Like we'll take this DAR Murray, just copy this, and we'll see that definitely they've been pwned, right? This is a great website to come and search your own personal information. It doesn't tell you the passwords. It just says that, hey, you've been involved in a breach. And if you've been involved in a breach, you should go and change your password. Whatever password this was, you should never use that password again. So it tells you what was compromised in this one here. So we got email address, IP addresses, names, passwords, social media profiles, which is a lot of the data that we already saw when we were looking at the dehashed results. This is also something that we make businesses aware of. Like you shouldn't be using your email address for work if you can avoid it. Like I realize there's some things where you have to sign up with your work email address for, but eventually things are going to get breached that you sign up for. It's inevitable. This is why using a password manager is great. This is why having random unique passwords is great. But also, like, avoid using your work email. Like, do your company a favor. All right. So let's talk about a few more things. We got 13 minutes left before we end this. So I think we're right on schedule. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break and take a sip here. Name check. I don't know what's going on with name check. Okay. Well, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at username enumeration. And we're going to hunt down username and accounts. And there's a lot of websites that are out here that are built for finding, not finding usernames, but finding non-used usernames, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know why name check's not working. Let me try to see if I can delete this and go back to the website. Um, but what it's going and checking is to see if that name is used in places. That way you can like buy a domain if it's not being used, or you can sign up for Facebook with that username. Is the intent of these, but they're also great open source intelligence tools. So I don't know why Namecheck's not working, but what's my name.app is another one. And please note the default of this excludes porn. However, if you do the all, it will include websites like Pornhub, things like that. And that is a like it is a good reason to include those sites. Like if you're trying to hunt down somebody that is a like a bad person, you're doing an investigation on them, looking on porn sites to find them is actually a valid open source intelligence gathering method. So this is something that is very good. But for this, we're going to just exclude it. If you hit search, you'll see like what comes up for found profiles. I do have a link tree. I do not have a buy me a coffee. So it looks like either somebody signed me up for buy me a coffee and try to like get some money out of people. Yeah, that's not my logo. That's not me at all. So somebody signed me up for buy me a coffee. Um, Reddit, you can find my Reddit profile. Like this is a great way to like search for a known username and just start seeing where this person signed up. Like this even has HackerOne on here. It's got Xbox, Telegram. I've never signed up for, so somebody signed up for me on Telegram. Keybase, GitHub, Twitter, TikTok, Patreon. You could start finding based on just a username where they might have accounts at. These websites are incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. So, this is a great way to do some investigation and enumeration on usernames. Now, social media websites also have a lot of disclosure. For example, Kick. On Kick, you can come in here and like do username enumeration. Like if you do kick.me with the username, you can see like sometimes people will put their actual first and last name on here. So Virginia Thompson is the username of Mav. If we come in and we look at this page will load, it looks like I am frozen. So I don't know what just happened, but all right. Well, technical difficulties for some reason. We just lost our whole website. All right. Well, we'll move on. Show will go on without it. So if we do like I'm going to bring this up in private browsing. It could be the VPN. Uh, kick.me, and then we'll do, I think heat was the example. So like this is an example right here. Let me make this bigger. So like we can have a situation where we come in here and we can see like the username and the user. Maybe this is we find this person and now we see, oh, Lux Hustler. I'm gonna go look that up on like a name check website and then get information there. But we also see an image. And if you right click and open this image in a new tab, they'll give you the full size image a lot of times. So like we only saw like a tiny portion of this image. We came in here, we could see the full thing, I think. Yeah, like we see the whole image here. So this is a great example of seeing a full image, and then you can take this. We haven't got into image OSINT yet, but you can do reverse image searching. You can look this image up and then try to find information out about this person. So this is another great way. A lot of places like Snapchat has a great way of finding these. You could do username enumeration by just like typing in a username and seeing if it's a valid username on that platform and find information about people, social media accounts like TikTok, like Snapchat, like any of the different Signal and different chat apps like that, like Kick and other ones that are out there. Those also have the ability to disclose information about this kind of stuff. So uh, all the information that you're putting out online is accessible and is can be hunted down quite easily. So you got to be very careful. Hopefully, this is not just a lesson on using intelligence gathering, but also a lesson on operational security and what you're putting out there and how it can be tracked down as well. So I think we're going to call it here. I'm going to come back to the screen. And again, I love sitting here and just watching the emails increase as I go through this. So I we got 13 emails during this stream. It's always great. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the attendance because it has been plenty of time for attendance. So let me go ahead and get that done really quick. We have over 3,000 responses, which I think is plenty, given that there's not even 3,000 people here. So yeah. Look at Sick in the Mind. Thank you, Sick in the Mind, posting the links that we just covered. Hey, thanks everybody. I hope everybody has a good weekend. If you want to stick around, we're going to do AMA. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend, and be safe. I don't remember all the army things they used to say for us for our out briefings, but be safe. Yeah, we'll be covering. So we're going to be doing OSINT for like 3 more weeks, I would guess, maybe 2 more weeks. And so we'll get into some of this other stuff. Like people are asking about like image data OSINT and doing some like research on that. There's a lot of reconnaissance that we have left to do. We barely scratched the surface today. So, how often should you change all of your passwords? You don't need to change your passwords. That's not really where it's at. Like the better thing is to okay, first of all, change your password after a breach. Don't reuse the same password is really the good thing. And then you should also use long, complex, unique passwords for each website that you use. Like I think it's fine if you have like a standard password that you use on some websites that you don't care about, like don't have any personal information. It's easy. You don't need to like go into your password manager, log in, all that stuff. But if we're talking like your banking information or critical websites, like you should be using a password manager and every password should be unique. But otherwise, like if you get breached or if a website has your password and it's been breached, it's time to change that password if you're reusing it, but you shouldn't reuse it. The Python course should be dropping on Friday of next week. We have a YouTube video coming out tomorrow, and that is going to be on finding a house based on a video or influencer's house tour. It's actually should be pretty good. I had fun recording that one. And then the Python course, I still have a little bit more to go. Currently, we've got about 2 hours of material. I've got probably another hour or so to record and edit, and I got to get that in. I'll have that submitted tonight for release on next Friday. The website that did not work is Namecheck, Namechk. I don't remember. I think it's a .com, but I would put it into Google to find it for sure. And it's great to see 3,000 of you here still on a Friday. Um, Kind of like I was saying, like the attendance we expect to drop week by week, especially like we haven't gotten incredibly technical yet. As we start to get into the technical stuff and people start to realize, and I'm not saying this to scare you, but people start to realize how like difficult this can get, we're going to start losing people. So pat yourself on the back if you've been here and you're sticking with it. Again, I expected a significant drop off, and we'll see where we're at the end of 25 weeks. But you guys are doing awesome, and I'm so glad to have you all here. After PNPT, what's the next cert you recommend? So it depends on what you want to go for. If you're looking at Active Directory and you want to do more advanced Active Directory stuff, because that's really what the PNPT is, I would say the CRTO by Zero Point Security, aka Rasta Mouse, would be a very great next step up. So something to consider. Otherwise, if you're like looking at web app or something along those lines, there's different certifications out there that you can explore as well. Yes, all yes, all the links will get added just like the previous weeks. Again, the information that goes into the week for this week usually gets uploaded today, and all that information is going to be resources that we shared this week plus anything that you should watch before getting into next week's materials. So it's like homework over the next 5 days as opposed to overloading you with something. The only situation in which I would do that is if I needed you to do something for this week specifically, but usually we'll put that in the week prior. I will be incredibly honest. I am not a Apple user, so I don't know much about Keychain. I like password managers. I recommend using an open source password manager. Like I wouldn't use something like LastPass, for example. It's fine, but LastPass is a private repository. It's not open source. Like we use Bitwarden because Bitwarden is open source. But you can use like one password, LastPass, whatever. But Bitwarden's my recommendation. Not that they have been hacked quite like that, but you never know in those situations. So people are saying KeyPass as well. KeyPass is pretty good as well. By the way, thanks for all the gift subs and stuff that have come through. Um, I am going to screw up your name, Hito Carib. I don't know how to say it. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at reading. Thank you for the 10 gift subs. And Matt Bogenberger, thank you for the 10 gift subs as well just now. You guys are awesome. And thanks for all the subs that have come through. I think we've had like 30 subs, so I'm not going to sit here and name them all, but thank you. Thank you, everybody who has subbed today and helped support the channel. I appreciate it. When somebody tries to hack your account, what will be your action? There's not really an action to take. Like, we have certain protection mechanisms in place. I'm not going to say what those are, but we have certain protection mechanisms in place. But if it's like a personal account, like I get password reset requests all the time. You just don't click the link and reset the password. There's situations that you just have to be smart about and be cautious about. Oh, by the way, we get like all kinds of scam emails. There's a very good one that we're working on a video. I'm working on a video with with Husky Hacks. We haven't started making it yet, but like I get sent malware constantly, and he's the malware reverse engineer analysis guy. So we're going to collab on a video on one of these things that I just received. That was pretty funny. So there's going to be a malware analysis video coming on YouTube at some point. I would say probably in August. I missed the question that was on the screen. Sorry. Uh, the media mentions a severe shortage of cybersecurity professionals, but it seems like there's an abundance of pen testers and aspiring pen testers. What's your observation? Yeah, so I wrote an article about this for Microsoft, and Microsoft actually sent me a very nice gift package that I just got today, which is pretty neat. But the overall belief and idea on my side is there's issues on both sides. There is definitely gatekeeping going on. We definitely have more positions open than people that we can hire. And there's people like expecting this unicorn to come through and not willing to train an individual. On the other side of that, though, are people who see the dollar signs and see that hacking is this lucrative field, but they're not really willing to put in the work. Like when we talk about ethical hacking is a very demanding job. You have to stay on top of things. You have to really love and be passionate about this field. It is not an entry level IT job. There are entry level jobs for pen testing, but it's not an entry level IT job. So, like, you have to be well versed in IT and in networking and all these different fields, and then also excel at pen testing. So, we're looking for like a compromise in the middle, and there's people wrong on both sides, honestly, on how they're approaching the hiring and getting hired. So there's an abundance of candidates, yes, but most of the candidates are not qualified to work in this field. Somebody asked about the Microsoft swag. I will take a picture with it and probably just post it on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, that would be the place to see it. But they sent like a mini fridge, some energy drinks. They sent headphones. They sent a nice chair. They sent all kinds of cool stuff over. It's probably one of the best swag packs I got. And I literally just did a blog interview with them. So that was really impressive. Are there pure social engineering jobs in the US? Any courses that you should do to get jobs? So I don't know of true social engineering courses. There are, okay, I should backtrack. There are social engineering courses that are out there. They're usually like live events or like very expensive paid training. Um, Even then, it's like I don't really know who to recommend. There's been some falling out in the social engineering community lately, and there's some takeover, but I don't know what the new people who are the leaders in that community, if they're teaching, if they're only teaching at DEF CON, those places. However, there are definitely social engineering jobs out there. There are companies that only do social engineering. So there are things that you can look out for that. But there are books that you can read. There are plenty of information out there. There's YouTube channels on social engineering, all kinds of stuff like that. We are doing our best not to hike any prices. Um, so the instance of when we'll hike prices will be one of two situations. One, I could see the academy, the all access pass, getting a price increase at some point, especially as more courses come. The value of that all access pass should go up. The other thing, though, is if we receive price increases from our hosting platforms, or especially like AWS, if like AWS pricing significantly increases and we're like our margins are incredibly thin, we'll increase the prices. But our value and everything else is to keep our prices the same. And out of the like major certification companies, we're the only one that has not increased prices in the last year or two. So even with inflation the way it is, we are still holding strong on our belief of having affordable courses, and we're making it work. On the back end with accounting and everything else, and how we fund projects. So I think that networking jobs are incredibly beneficial. I could be biased because I was a network engineer, but I think that it helps significantly prepare me for working in the pen test field. Like, I can talk the talk with a network engineer anytime that I'm on an engagement, and my direct experiences as a network engineer, I think is what helped me significantly with that. You want to volunteer on some projects related to pen testing and hacking. Uh, you can you can get on Discord, get on Twitter, talk to people. Usually it's like GitHub collaborations or some other stuff. You'll have to like seek out that kind of stuff. The only other volunteering that you could do would be like through conferences and through meetups. But I would say Discord or Twitter is probably your best place to go. Please do an OnlyFans OSINT. We had the OnlyFans OSINT challenge. If you go look on YouTube, and this is probably what this is referring to or reference to, um, OnlyFans, you have to hold up a picture to get verified or to get an account on there. So, like, you have to hold up your ID next to your face. And they kept telling me that my ID did not match my face. And I was like, is this a bot doing this or is this a human doing this? Because it's definitely me in this photo. So I eventually just changed that, what was the OnlyFans challenge, into being a different OSINT challenge. It was actually pretty successful. So I don't think there's an OnlyFans in my future, but if times get hard, I will. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I'll do what I need to do. You know. Can you suggest a challenge or assignment that would strengthen today's learning? I would just Google like OSINT challenges that are out there. There's plenty of platforms. Hack the Box, Try Hack Me. They have OSINT challenges. I'm sure there's like OSINT challenges that are out there on websites that I don't even know about. So there's plenty of resources you could use. You could use your Google lessons that you learned today to Google that question and find some resources. Yeah, thank you. I am only as good as the staff around me, so it's incredible to have Sick in the Mind, Zach, Audie, DeWalt. Everybody's pitching in today, which is great. We are absolutely going to raid somebody. It is fantastic to make somebody's day. So we're about 20 minutes away from that, but the last two raids have gone incredibly well, and like raiding a channel with 10 people with over 1,000 people and seeing their reaction, and it's so genuine, it's just incredible. So security role versus the public sector versus the private sector. So public, if we're talking like government, so the benefits on the public side are usually pretty good. The pay is not nearly as good as what you can get on the private side. I am more for the private side of things because you get good pay and that can compensate a lot of times for the benefits. The only thing about the public side that I'll give a kudos to is that you can probably get to work, like if you worked for like the NSA, for example, you can probably get to work on some pretty cool things. But the downside is that you never can talk to anybody about it. Like you can't tell your wife about it or your partner or whatever. Can't tell your friends. No pillow talk. It's one of those jobs where you might get to do really cool stuff and then can never like talk about it. So it's really up to personal preference. I am much more of a I like the private sector more than the public sector. No, you do not have to be good at math to be a good hacker. Um, I would say you have to be decent at math to be a good programmer. But if you're not doing programming and development, I don't think you have to worry too much about the math side of things. There's a class every Wednesday and Friday. If there's no class, I will tell you way ahead of time. It wouldn't be on a Friday. Sick in the mind. I saw your statement. Just DM me his name. Maltigo is a great tool. The only issue with Maltigo is it is like a paid service, so it really just depends on your preference. But Maltigo is very powerful. Hmm. I have no tunes unless you saw the collab that I did with Hack Luke. We did Shoddy. We're gonna do bug bounties. That was the name of the song. We should make that into a full song. I think we could do it, but if you weren't around for that Twitter jam, you really missed out. Is there a way to remove unwanted info about you on a Google search? Yes, there is. So it can get kind of complicated. There's a great book on privacy by Michael Bazzell, Bazzell. If you look that up on Amazon, um, that's one option. You can go out to the different websites and start requesting that your information be removed. There are also services that are out there that I think are worth the price. Like they're usually like $200 for a year, and you give them all of your information, and they'll go out and request the deletion for you. And it saves a lot of time and headaches, honestly. So, privacy concerns with DHash haven't been pwned. I know you wouldn't use it if the emails weren't in scope, but are you concerned about the data tracked by the platforms? I have no concerns about that. So I mean, like, yeah, they could be tracking what you're searching, but I don't know how they would use that maliciously. Yep. So that video is going to be released tomorrow. Um, Typically, we release on Fridays, but we had a sponsor for this video, and the sponsor requested that we release it on a Saturday. So that video will be out tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I think it's pretty good OSINT. So I have never been recognized during a physical pen. I'm not that famous. Usually, if I'm famous to somebody on the IT team that I'm doing a physical pen test for, they know who I am and they know that I'm doing that pen test. Um, so like I've never been recognized walking down the street or at the grocery store or anything like that. Like I've had some people give me some looks on the street that I was like, "Yeah, I don't know where you know me from," but um, nobody's ever approached me because of online personality outside of being like at a security conference where somebody would recognize me. Is the PNPT exam recommended for somebody who just finished a CEH certification? So the CEH certification is not a great indicator of anything. It's really just a multiple choice exam that can be kind of brute force mentally. I wouldn't say that you're ready for the PMPT, but I would say that maybe you have a foundation where you can take the training to do the PMPT and then take the exam. I wouldn't say, hey, I passed the CEH, thus I can pass the PMPT. I think that would be a very big mistake. Got about 15 minutes left, chat. Can you give me some suggestions for cybersecurity projects? Well, since this is a hacking stream, I'll make this hacking related. What I tell people when they're trying to put something on their resume for a cybersecurity project is to build out an Active Directory lab. And within that Active Directory lab, get attacks and defenses going. So understand what attacks are applicable, what tools you can use to run those attacks, and then what you could do to prevent those attacks, and maybe what you can do to detect those attacks. And if you put something like that on a resume, like if you say built Active Directory lab, performed LM&R poisoning with Responder, performed Cobra roasting with the Impacket toolkit, and things like that. And then like how to defend against that. I think that would look really good on a resume and could be a great cybersecurity project. If you're already working as a web pen tester, I don't think you need to backtrack to do networking pen testing or network pen testing. Like, just go out and learn network pen test methodology and apply that. I think web app pen testing is harder than network pen testing, honestly. So they both have their nuances, but I would say like you just go out and learn networking side of things and then start adding in network pen testing related to that. No, there are no multiple choice questions on the PNPT. It's very much pass fail, compromise or no compromise. And you do have to write a report. So a lot of you guys ask about specific courses. I don't have the answer to that, with the exception of saying that we will accept proposals for any type of course. It just is up to the individual to submit those courses. So like I have maybe one or two courses left in me, maybe some more depending, like time depending. But really we rely on other people who are specialists in those areas. Like I'm not a threat intelligence specialist, so like I wouldn't develop that course. But if somebody submitted a good course proposal and they were a good instructor, we would absolutely take that. The issue that we have is we have to find like unicorns almost. We have to find people that are talented, are new to kind of the teaching game and want like a platform to demonstrate their skills. And we want somebody that needs or that believes in what we do, because like there's a lot of our courses that are on our platform that have been developed that could go sell for 200, 300, $400, and people are choosing to sell them for $30 because they believe in what we believe in making affordable education. Not everybody is like that. You'll see people go out there and make a $500 course and sell it, so, or even 1000, 2000, $3000. So like we have to find very specific individuals for these courses, and yes, I would love to have a course on that. It's just getting the right person to teach it. Are pen testing and malware analysis completely separate jobs? They are. How much does a pen tester need to know about static and dynamic analysis on malware? Zero. You don't have to know that. Like you can if that's like a side hobby or something you want to do, but you don't ever need to know anything about malware analysis. I couldn't tell you the first thing really about malware analysis, just because that's not my like my specialty or my topic. I mentioned that I'm doing a collab with Matt, and the reason I'm doing a collab with Matt is because I'm not the expert. Matt's the expert. So I'd rather have somebody come in and be able to dissect malware and tell me more about it. I think working as a cybersecurity analyst while you're trying to get a pen test job is great. I think that's a logical stepping stone and gives you some experience and some street cred on your resume before you go in and start applying for some of these pen test gigs. Yeah, I would recommend building your own pen testing lab. Definitely using virtual hardware. You could get physical hardware, but that would get very expensive very quick. I would just say use virtual hardware, and then absolutely would look really good on a resume. It would look very great on a resume. Am I feeling sleepy? I am so tired. I like again, I'm on an hour and a half of sleep and I have work that's going to keep me busy until probably midnight. I told my wife a couple days ago that I'm probably not going to sleep till Saturday, and like she thought I was joking. I truly meant it. Like there's just so much work to do this week that I've got to get done before the weekend. So, what's harder according to you, PNPT or eCPPT? So these kinds of questions are impossible to answer because it is depending on you and how you handle situations. There they're not apples and oranges directly, but they are different exams. So you might find one to be easier based on your previous experiences, or you might find one to be harder. So it's really subjective kind of question. And I can't really answer that honestly. At what point does OSINT research become borderline illegal? If you're using it for malicious intent. When we do OSINT research, like the only time I'm doing OSINT research is if I'm paid by a client to do so, or if I'm helping like the police or an investigator or somebody that has permission or authorization to do so. So just like any hacking, if you don't have the authorization to do it, you probably shouldn't do it. So same thing with intelligence gathering. Like it's fine to Google somebody, but like there's a point where you cross a line, and you need to be very cognizant of where that line is. Do a video walkthrough on the OPSEC. The OPSEC of what? Just like good operational security practices. A lot of the videos that we've been doing recently, you've noticed like we're still doing hacking videos on the channel, but there's been a big pivot to OSINT. And with that pivot, a lot of the lessons learned are operational security lessons. Like we talk about the bad things that could happen in order to teach you how to not do those bad things. Uh, is it a good book for learning social engineering? Yes. But I have a hard time supporting Chris right now, especially with all the stuff that's been going on. So I'm kind of indifferent. I think it's a good book, but there's also a lot of controversy behind the author of the book. So just as a heads up. Should you go for EJPT before PNPT? That would be logical. You wouldn't do it in the other way around. The Do I advocate for the EJPT? I think it's not bad. Like if it's something that you want to assess yourself on, I don't know where they're going with the EJPT version 2. It looks more robust than what it was before, so maybe there's more emphasis there, and it's more improved. But you could also get a lot of the same knowledge for free or for really cheap from Try Hack Me. So yes, I have worked with somebody who has no certifications but all the skills. One of the most talented people I've ever worked with had no hacking certifications whatsoever. Our company forced him to go get the OSCP, and I think he failed the OSCP like 4 or 5 times. And it's like a true indicator that the OSCP, especially back then, was not an indication of your success in the field. Like he could run circles on a pen test around people, but the CTF mindset versus an actual pen test mindset are two different things. But he was like a savant, honestly, a savant when it came to not just pen testing, but networking as well. Most of the time, we do pen tests by ourselves just because we're a smaller organization, and the most of the clients that we attract are on the small to medium size. If the project is big, or we're training, we'll work on a project together. Or if we need to get like, say, 2 weeks worth of pen testing done in a week, we might work on a project together as well. So there's been times where we're running like an external and an internal at the same time, and we've got two people working on those, and they're kind of sharing information as well. But other than that, like we don't work in groups, but I have worked at organizations where you do work in groups. It just depends on the organization and how they approach things, and the uh, the clients as well, the size of the clients. Do you use a VM while performing pen testing or live machine? So good question. If we're doing a web app pen test or an external pen test, it's usually a VM. Although I run Windows now for a lot of my web app pen testing, it's just easier. For an internal pen test, we have a couple options. Usually we send a laptop out. That laptop will be Windows based with a VM built on top of it because you get the flexibility of having both operating systems. We have had situations where a client has built a virtual machine for us and then use that virtual machine. We use that virtual machine instead. So, and I'm starting to lose my voice as well. So I'm going to take a drink. I'm so glad this is over in 4 minutes because I don't know if I could go for more than 4 more minutes. Tejas, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate it. We have 1317 on the viewers from what I can see. I wish it was 1337. We're definitely going to be rating here very shortly. The energy drink of the day is a Rain Cherry Limeade. Not sponsored by Rain, but Rain, if you're watching, I'm open to an energy drink sponsor. I drink one of these at least every stream. So, all right, stick around, chat. Stick around. Like, I'm not asking you to stay for me. I'm asking you to stay for when we raid. Like, the bigger the numbers that we have, the better it'll be for that person. Like, let's get somebody like an unknown some good follows today. We're gonna raid, all right? So let me go get this channel that was sent to me, and then we'll do a little bit of rating. All right, this person has five people. Five people. We're about to change their life. Maybe. I don't know. It's a bold statement. All right, we are rating. Let's get 1,000 people in there. Let's do it. All right. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Thank you. I will not be here next week on stream. I'll be here in spirit. You'll have Joe Helly with you. But I will be back the following week. But we're going to be covering more OSINT next week. So let's go ahead and get this raid going, shall we? Bye.